So you guys have probably watched a lot of these videos of people changing their lives, and you guys are looking for some kind of inspiration on how you can change your life and how you can get better yourself. And trust me, I've been there. There's been a million times where I've been scrolling through YouTube trying to find the perfect video to inspire me to change. I'm not going to tell you and promise you that this will inspire you, but it's going to be so real and raw, and it's going to just show you all my personal pictures from month to month and how I looked. And I'm also just going to tell you this wasn't perfect. This wasn't like I went in the hyperbolic time chamber monk mode. I didn't eat any bad food. I didn't drink for months on months or years on years. I had very good consistent habits overall, but there definitely were some things that if I was trying to be an IFBB pro, or just like if I was just trying to get the most growth possible, that I wouldn't have done. But I'm also trying to tell you guys that you can have somewhat of a lifestyle and change your life. Also, if you think you're gonna get quick dopamine here and I'm just gonna, put up flashy edits and inspiring music and everything, that's not the right video. Go watch a David Goggins motivational video. Hopefully that'll change your life, but this isn't it. So I know it says that it was an 18-month transformation, but we got to go all the way back to 2022 because this is where it really started. So the date is June 2022, and I had just finished hanging out with my cousins in Canada, and I had just finished months on months and months of my sales job that I was working at the time, and I was working like 60 to 70 hours a week at that time. And although I was on and off in the gym beforehand, while I was working that job, I basically didn't go to the gym once, maybe like twice in a few month period, but that's not going to do anything. At that time, I basically went from like a 190 pounder normal, right? Like lifting in the gym, like I didn't have abs or anything, but I was getting better before I started the job. And then after spending holidays with my cousins and eating cake and eating pizza and traveling and all this stuff, it really did just cook me. So this is how I looked in June 2022. I was fat. The farmer's tan doesn't help at all either. I was just not in a good place physically. And I'd be lying to you if I said that I hated myself, because I don't know why, but I was kind of delusional. Like I didn't think I was that bad, but looking back, it was pretty bad. It could have been a lot worse, but this is like my peak worst look, okay? Keep in mind, I was always an athletic kid. When I was younger, I was a national sprinter, and then when I got older, I was a provincial soccer player, and I always just did lots of different sports. And so my genetics are good enough to not have gotten to this place, let's just say that. And this is a few months later after this video, and I was going through it, and I made this video in September 7th, and I'll play it for you guys now, just so you know that this isn't like something where it was just one day. Today is, what date is it? It's the 7th of September, and I stepped on the scale and I weighed 200 pounds. I've always been a pretty fit guy. This is the worst shape I've ever been in, and I'm making this so, when I get back to having abs and a good lean physique, you can see the progress. So I'm glad that I took that, because it's kind of like, yeah, bro, it took you almost 3 years to get to a decent physique, which is where I'm at now. But it's just kind of funny. Like sometimes I try to think of where I was at mentally, was I like, oh yeah, by next summer, I'm going to be jacked. And that's what takes us to the next stage. So the next stage would be this February 8th, 2023. And I did do a little bit, as in I didn't lift, but I was hill walking and I was doing keto. And the reason why I was doing keto is because I really got into this guy on YouTube. He was Dr. Berg. And I didn't really like him for the, all the cancer stuff or all the health stuff, but he used to talk about appetite suppressant through getting rid of carbohydrates. And although he's right, I'm just so much more knowledgeable now, as in, I just know that was, if I could go back and change what I was doing, I would. It's not to say keto is the dumbest thing in the world. It's just that for my goals, it kind of is. For where I want to go in my life, it was a pretty dumb goal. Yeah, this is what I looked like. You can see I'm definitely lost a bit of fat from my earlier edition, right? But not substantial. Like this is 5 months later. This is not 5 months worth of progress. This is just me basically not being such a pig as I was before and slowly changing. So keep in mind, this is kind of like, when you watch a movie and they give you the backstory. Yeah, this is like, I'm giving you the backstory before I started lifting and all the stuff that I tried and failed at. So I tried keto, which isn't good. I wouldn't do it if I were you guys. I'm gonna say it quickly. I'll make another video talking about why you shouldn't cut carbs, but just to say it quickly, when you cut carbohydrates out completely, it's virtually impossible to build muscle. From my anecdotal experience and just from a statistical and hypertrophic experience, like this is just, there's lots of data on it. When you're lacking glycogen in your muscles, you can't perform and progressively overload the weight. When you're lacking carbohydrates, you're more tired all the time. You don't have that fast energy. You also store less water, so your muscles look flatter. It also spikes your cortisol, because when you don't have carbohydrates, your cortisol is higher, which is the stress hormone. So there's a bunch of side effects from a hypertrophic and bodybuilding perspective that would make me never go back to doing it. But for sure it works if you're like obese, maybe then. But like if you're just trying to, if you're in an okay spot like me, like if you were skinny fat, then yeah, keto's not the way to go, guys. Just don't cut carbs at all. That's the biggest mistake I made back then. And that's why even, you know, as of recent, not recent, but even when I got back into my fitness, I was making these mistakes. That's February 2023. And then we go all the way to May 8th, 2023. And this is when the keto started really working for me. I started to see slight abs. I remember I was super happy when I saw this, because guys, you have to keep in mind, like, let's just throw up the June 2022 picture, right? So this is 11 months later. Probably, if any, not a substantial amount of muscle was built. But that's not the point. The point is that I was like, man, I can slightly see my abs. I can slightly see my obliques. I was very happy. Looking back, I mean, if I looked like that right now, I'd be very sad. But you also have to just appreciate where you are right now, because in 3 years' time, I'll look back at my now physique and be like, damn, that guy was ugly, or that guy was fat, or that guy didn't have a good physique at all. But you can't really think like that. If you think like that, you're never gonna enjoy the progression and the journey. You kind of have to take the little wins. You know, if you hit a PR, if you start seeing new veins, take it all in. Love the journey, not the destination. And yeah, so I actually have a picture as well. This is May 10th. This is the kind of meals I was eating. You know, cheese, burger patties, kind of bacon strips, right? This is the kind of meals I was eating, and it's good. Listen, guys, like I could go keto in terms of like a taste thing. Like it's super tasty. I was like, so you're telling me I get to eat butter and steak, and I get to eat burgers, and I get to eat bacon, and I get to eat all this stuff, and I'm gonna lose weight? And they're like, yep, you will. And it's true, you will. Like if you're, unless you're a complete slop, like if you're eating like 2 packets of bacon a day, but you just don't feel the hunger hormone signals that you do when you're eating carbohydrates, because your insulin's not getting spiked, so ghrelin's not out of control. You just kind of have this like slight hunger all the time, but it's so manageable. Like especially if you have any sort of discipline. Like if you're not a total slop, it's so easy. You'll look at it and go, not a problem. So yeah, that's the kind of stuff I was eating, and I loved it, you know. And then I got like the no sugar ketchup, and I would throw that on there, and then that was decent, and they had no carbs. So that was May 10th, and now we're basically gonna jump to 2024. So if you're like, why are we gonna jump to 2024, January 2024? I'll kind of give you what happened between that. So from the reason why I was doing this keto and trying to get lean is because I was going back to Ireland for months, basically the half of the year. And before I went back, I was kind of like, I wouldn't say even ashamed. I was just kind of looking at myself. I was like, man, I am fat. I hate the way I look. And I'm a very competitive and prideful person, even though pride's one of the deadly sins. I have a lot of embarrassment with the fact of how I looked back then. And I was like, man, this is just not me. I don't want this to be my representation to the world. I don't want to look like this. Like this is, people are going to think bad of me. And I care about that stuff, right? Whether you think that's good or bad to care about that stuff, I do. So I was just super upset. And if I had the knowledge I have now, I would have made a lot more progress than that guy did. But the effort was still kind of there, you know? So I went back to Ireland. That picture, that May picture, I was about 186. Came back from Ireland January 10th, right here. And this is what I looked like. So I was 181 in this picture. And yeah, you can see I'm visibly leaner than before, but you can see I'm also holding a lot of fat. I'm very soft. And you can see I almost look sickly. And if you're like, why do you look sickly? Well, it's because I was eating no carbohydrates again. I came back from Ireland and I looked at myself in the mirror and I said, yes, I'm kind of happy, as in I'm light, but why do I still not look the way I want? Because that guy there was 181. If he wanted to be shredded, he'd probably have to drop to 164, you know? Like, I probably have 15 pounds to lose at least there to look pretty good. And it's like, holy shit, because I'm 6'1". I'm like, can you imagine being 164, 6'1"? Like, you're just a twig. So I tried to like lose that little bit of fat for when I came back from Ireland in December and after Christmas. And I was going to the gym. As soon as I came back in December, that's when I started the gym. So if this seems all over the place, I'm sorry, but in December 2023, that's when I started the the gym. So I had been going to the gym for consistently about a month here. My weight in terms of progression at the gym didn't change at all. And I was lost. I was like, I should be getting these newbie gains. My bench hasn't moved. Nothing moved. Nothing changed. And I thought it was because I was cutting. Even though I wasn't losing any weight, I thought it was because I wasn't cutting. And I accidentally, by saying, fuck this cutting, I need to start bulking because I'm not even building any muscle. And the reason why I knew I wasn't building muscle is because my strength wasn't going up. I was a little bit smart. I knew, well, if your strength's not increasing, you're probably not building any muscle. So I said, you know what? I need to just start bulking. I didn't say I need to add carbs back in. I said, I need to start bulking. So I was 182, 181-ish. And then that's March 10th or January 10th. Then we can fast forward all the way to March 1st of 2024, where I was bulking, meaning like I wasn't necessarily eating just fast food and bad food like that, but I was eating carbohydrates, tons of protein, tons of fats, tons of everything. And I gained 10 pounds. I was 191. And this is in 2 months. My bench went from 235 to 270. And I was 191. And I gained all this muscle. And I was like, so summer's coming around the corner. I want to get shredded. Unfortunately for me, I didn't realize how little muscle I had developed. As in, yes, I put on a good amount of muscle for the time frame, but just because you put on a lot of muscle in a short period of time doesn't mean that you put on a lot of muscle as an overall. You know what I mean? So when I look at this, if we watch this video, I clearly put on a lot of muscle. And to be honest, I think most of it was muscle. I think I probably put on, I know it was only 2 months, but I probably put on like 4 or 5 pounds of muscle in those 2 months. If I'm being completely honest with you. I think my body just really reacted well to the carbohydrates, the increase of calories, everything, because I don't look any fatter there than I did in the before. And even if it's slight, I definitely look like I put on a lot more muscle there. So that was 2 months. And if you're like, oh, that's like a big change. Like you kind of went from skinny fats, kind of small to like, oh my gosh, like you put on a decent amount of muscle. What's the biggest thing that changed? It's literally just consistently training to failure at the gym, 6 days a week. I was doing push-pull legs, and resting every Sunday. And then I trained every set to failure. And I was with my buddies, so I had a spot at all times, but every set was to failure. Not one wasn't to failure. I just trained every single muscle group really hard. I was doing bench, I was doing tricep pushdowns, curls, I was doing isolation and compound movements. I was just training really hard and eating tons of food, tons of meat, tons of fat, tons of carbs. I was eating cereal. I was having all the sugars and the carbs and milk, and I was having tons of protein. My body was just, I was basically like doing Sam Sulek, except not as dirty, right? And I was just in a proper perfect, I wouldn't say even perfect, but like near perfect bulk, to be completely honest with you. And my body really reacted well because I was not eating carbs for a long time. So then the reason why I say that is because March 1st, I thought it'd be smart to go for a cut because I was like, summer's coming around the corner, and I watched a bunch of videos saying it takes a lot longer to lose fat than you think, which is true. So I said, let me start my cut early in March because then that'll give me March, April, and May to be ripped for June. And I cut a little too fast. So this is me March 17th with my friend Carter. This is us on the hill walk at Planet Fitness. Then this is me weighing at 185 pounds, March 20th. So I had dropped about 6 pounds in 3 weeks, which if you factor in glycogen and water retention, it's not crazy at all. So this is me April 14th. So this is about 6 weeks-ish of cutting, right? So this is me 6 weeks later from that picture there, or from that video that I showed you after. I was about 178 pounds. So I'd lost 13 pounds. You can see my abs are coming in. You see the traps are there. You can see I lost a lot of fat. Like I was really lean here, I'll be honest. Like I know it's not super diced, but unfortunately for me and most men, I hold a lot of my fat in my lower pouch, those lower abs. Like you can see my obliques, you can see, my shoulders are pretty lean, chest is pretty lean, face is leaned out, even my legs are always lean, but my back, my upper back especially is always lean, but you can just see that, I store quite a bit of my fat at my love handles and on my lower fat. But you could see I was very happy with my progress, guys. I was very, very happy with my progress. because this is 6 weeks. And because I achieved this so quickly, which I also recommend, before I say anything else, I recommend you guys cut fast. Not like unsustainably fast, but you basically want to be always on the edge of what you can handle, which basically means whatever the most you can handle with your cut, that's where you want to be. So if you can handle 1,000 calorie deficit a day, do it. If you can only handle 750, do it, right? And people wouldn't recommend this like other people, but I recommend it. If you can handle, like, if you're not that hungry that day, just don't eat. And people will say, oh my God, are you crazy? It's like, when you don't eat, your body spikes growth hormone, which protects muscle mass, and 99.9% of you have more than enough adipose tissue, otherwise known as fat, to keep you going. And as long as you're getting your electrolytes in and you're drinking water and you're getting sodium intake higher than usual, you should have lots of salt if you're not eating, do it. Like, if you just are in a stage where you're like, I'm not that hungry, don't force yourself to eat. Remember, you're trying to lose fat. I got to 177, as I said, at my lowest, 178. That's where I was. And from there, I basically just started, my plan was to kind of maintain, but I didn't do that. And I didn't get fat. I just kind of like intuitively ate and made sure that I was eating good foods. I was eating lots of meat. I wasn't eating totally crap. So I was eating lots of meat, lots of stuff. So 2 months later, I was just kind of just trying to improve my strength, training every day, eating well, but I stopped weighing myself. Not because I was like, oh my God, I'm gaining weight, but I just like stopped caring. So 2 months later, this is what I looked like. This is June 12th. So this is exactly 2 months later. And you can see, yeah, a decent amount more muscularity made. Right? The arms are definitely bigger than they were in April, for sure. The amount of fat hasn't changed drastically. I probably put on a little bit of fat, but the amount of muscle I have has definitely increased. My triceps have gotten a lot bigger. You can see my shoulders have gotten a lot bigger. So the progress is very, very good, right? I don't know what the posing is, but the muscle mass has really gotten better. And then I took another one, July 29th. So this is about a month and a half later. And you can see, oh God, I must have been lean here. I must have been like low 180s here. But if we play this video, wasn't trying to be fat for the summer. So the whole summer I was kind of just trying to be lean like this, which is like probably if I'm being realistic, this is probably like 15 to 18% body fat. I just store a lot of fat in my lower, guys, like my lower abs area. It sucks, but hey, we're gonna cry about it? We're gonna give up the gym because we do that? Nope. So yeah, if we watch the video, I just look good. I don't know if I gained a ton more muscle, but you know, still training every day, still getting stronger all day, getting better. And then we jump for a little bit. I don't think I recorded a video for a while, like a little while. Oh no, we did on my birthday, September 20th, my birthday. So this is like 3 months later? August? No, this is like 2 months later. So another 2 months go by, okay? I love the 2 month increments, and you can see, definitely a lot more muscle here. Arms have gotten a lot bigger. I'm definitely a lot fatter than I was. I definitely stopped giving a shit about the summer shreds and said, let me just eat. I wasn't fat by any means, but I was just eating good, intuitively eating, and getting stronger. And you can see the veins are popping more. The back width has gotten better. Just overall mass is going up. But, you know, the physique still isn't where I want it at all. You know, I'm still like not in a great place. Because keep in mind, guys, like you have to understand, I'd been going to the gym from that picture for 10 months. And people don't really understand how long it takes. Like, I'm not saying it's going to take you 10 years to get your dream physique, but man, it does not take, it's definitely going to take you at least a year if you have good genetics. And then if you have average genetics, like maybe a few years, right? So you're in for the road, and enjoy the journey, enjoy the small progress, right? Go every day, enjoy the strength gains, go with your friends, make it a fun thing, right? Like, you don't have to be so, I just want results. Because if that's the way you think, you're just going to hate it. But yeah, so that was September. And then the next one we got, and this is a big change. I decided to go on a bulk. So September, and I remember this Christmas or this fall after my birthday, I said, because I wanted to be kind of lean for my birthday, but I said after my birthday I'm starting my bulk. So I started my bulk September 21st or September 20th, I think, on my birthday, because I was eating bad food then. But I started my intentional bulk. So I was eating a ton of food, intentionally training really hard, trying to get really heavy. So in that September pick, I was probably 186, and then November 7th right here, I'm 195, and it's a pick. But I was like, holy shit. I was like, I look pretty good. You can see I didn't visibly put on a ton more fat. Like I did around the waist area and definitely around the pouch area, but my arms, everything's just way bigger, guys. Like I'm just a bigger human than I was in September. And I then decided, because we decided to go home for that Christmas back to Ireland, I said, I want to be lean again. I don't want to be like bulked up for the Christmas. So I decided, and I knew I was going to get fat over Christmas. So I said, let me get shredded. This is my mindset at the time. I didn't end up getting shredded, but I said, let me try to get shredded by the Christmas period, right? So this would be 7-8 months ago I was trying to get shredded. So you can see I didn't get shredded at all, but I definitely am my leanest that I've ever been, right? You know, this is what I looked like Christmas Eve, and I was very happy with it. Like, you know, this is 2 months later. I was 185, so I lost 9 pounds, and I was happy, you know? I wasn't mad at all. But that's where, you know, it kind of went a little bad, because I went back and I didn't train too hard. This is the first time in a year that I missed any training, and I still went to the gym like every other day. But this is the first time that I was missing any days, because I didn't have a holiday the whole year. So this is the first time that I missed any days out of the whole year. I went for a year straight. And okay, so the next jump that we're gonna go on, this is a big jump, but I'll explain the difference. So we're gonna go to February 11th, okay? And I weighed probably 202 pounds right here. And you're gonna say, holy shit, in December you were just 188. Yep, I went through Christmas lifting weights hard, and then when I came back in January, early January, I just hit the gym straight again, non-stop. That's all I did. And yeah, I mean, guys, if you're ever thinking, should I bulk? I mean, honestly, I'm at the point where the only time you really gain crazy strength is bulking, guys. Like, if you just continue to eat in a surplus, and I'm not saying you need to gain stupid weight, but if you're in a slight surplus or decent surplus and you just do that for a while, you're gonna gain crazy size. Like, it's ridiculous, and it doesn't take long. So this is another 2 months, and this is how I looked. Huge. I look like a fucking tank. Even compared to now, I look like a fucking animal back then. I literally have like a turtle shell. I look like an absolute unit, man. So I was 202 pounds here. Like, built like a fucking unit. Like, that's a rugby physique right there, man. And then we're gonna skip all the way to March, right? So that's this is the infamous March video that I have. So this is March 3rd, 2025. So this is a month later, or 3 weeks. So 3 weeks later from that video, you can see I put on a decent amount more fat again, but the size is just increasing, guys. Like, now, do I look as good as what I did in February? No, but I was also 205 or 6 pounds here, heaviest I've ever been. Honestly, I look like I'm 230, but I don't know why I'm holding it so. Like, I'm holding the weight well for 206, in my opinion. But this is me at 206 pounds, an absolute animal. I just look massive compared to even my December physique. You know, I put on a ton more size again. My strength was going crazy. So that's, again, the famous time I always March, I start my cuts. So I started my cut, and this year I said I'm fucking committing to my cut. So this was me March 30th. I started my cut at 206 pounds. March 30th, I think I was 196. So this is me at 196 pounds. For sure my best ever look. Not to date, but at the time. Like, this was the best I'd ever looked in my life at that point. So this is March 30th. You can see it's the first time where I kind of look aesthetic. You know, I'm probably 15 to 17% body fat, you know, maybe slightly more. It's hard to tell, but I have the abs coming in. I have the veins. I don't really have anything overhanging at all. Everything's starting to separate. Probably my best look. And then you go a month further to May 5th. So this was another few weeks. And just to give you guys context, when I cut, it's not like I'm in a 500 calorie deficit every day. And if I do that for 12 weeks, I'll lose this amount of fat. That's not how I do it. How I like to cut is I like to hit milestones, and then I take breaks. So I always cut. So when I was 206 pounds at the end of March, I cut. And then when April started, I basically took from April 1st to April 17th off. Like, I didn't do any cutting. If anything, I gained a pound of fat. And the reason why is it's like a mental reset, so I can go and attack it again for a few short weeks where I can just hit it hard, because I don't really have the mental fortitude to cut for 4 months every day. Every day, I can't have a pizza once. Fuck that. So I like to just get it done, do it hard, and then I like to move on. So this is May 5th, and I would say I only cut for about 2 to 3 out of the 5 weeks. I probably cut for only 2 or 3. But this is how I looked. You could see noticeable difference again. The waist got a lot smaller from then, right? The abs are definitely a little clearer. Not a ton different though. Like, still just getting rid of a lot of the stubborn fat, holding on to a lot, but the triceps are clear. The back is getting leaner. Just looking good. Looking pretty good. getting lean. June 10th, 2025. So another month of cutting. This month I actually took serious, and you can tell. And when I say I took it serious, I mean I basically took most of May off. But when you get to a certain amount of body fat, every pound you lose makes such a big difference. So I was probably cutting for 2 weeks out of those 4, but you can see the difference from May to June. It's like super clear. Like the obliques are coming in, the abs are way more clear. There's not a lot of fat around the stomach area. Like I'm basically 13% body fat here, maybe 14, but I'm getting very diced here. You know, and this is a month ago, and even compared to then, I'm a lot leaner now than I was then, but I'm very happy with the physique that I built. And keep in mind, guys, like none of the videos or photos that I showed you were favorable. Like I'm not showing any angles where it's like giving myself the benefit. You know what I mean? Like how all these influencers do. I'm just being straight up honest with you guys about the real journey, how you're really gonna look, how it is, how long it takes. And you know, this is like me the next day, right? You can see there's veins coming up my stomach a little bit. The abs are in, veins all over the shoulders. And yeah, the lighting's good, but you know, it's still not like crazy. And you guys might say, damn, like that's crazy transformation. Or you might even say like, it's not. Like some of you guys will be like, that's crazy. Some of you guys will be like, that's not insane. But I like to just compare to where I was and say, damn, that's like really cool that I can get there. And then if I show you basically the final form, which is me in favorable lighting, good lighting, everything. This is me like June 17th, 18th, which is like a few weeks ago. And boom, you know, front double bi, looking clean. Yeah, the lighting's good. Yeah, there's a filter on it, but who gives a shit? You gotta be an influencer sometimes. And then here's the back shot. Boom. You know, and I'm leaner than I was then, right? I was 188 pounds then. I'm 186 pounds now, or 190 pounds then actually. So yeah, I'm 186 pounds now, getting leaner by the day, still cutting, trying to get to 180 pounds, most shredded I've ever been, trying to get full 8-pack, 8% body fat. That's what I'm going for. And yeah, that's my journey, my 18 months journey, but I took you through the whole 3 years of before I really started lifting. This is more of like a monologue of me showing you guys in depth that it doesn't take long, you know, like the time's gonna pass, right, guys? Like, trust me, my life has flashed in the last few years, and I'm sure yours has too, but you can use that to your advantage. When these people are like, I made $1 million and it only took me a year, you should take the mentality of, oh my God, last year flew by. You're telling me I can make that much money that fast? Or here's how I got abs in 3 months. It's like 3 months. Wasn't it just March or April? That's 3 months ago, right? So you can use these things to your advantage. It doesn't take a lot of time to do these things. And the biggest thing that I was told was time is only slow when you're doing things that you don't want to be doing. And time is fast when you're doing the things you want to be doing. So slow your life down. Enjoy it. Enjoy the grit. Enjoy the grind. It doesn't mean that you can't have days where you do things that you enjoy, but you should set goals and achieve them and then reward yourself. You know, if you want to hit a certain weight on the bench, or if you want to hit a certain weight in terms of your body weight, or if you want to have a certain look, set these goals and go out and achieve them, and then give yourself the reward. You know, and guys, I relate to you. You know, like my friends are always having fun, they're always partying, they're always eating good foods, they're always doing these things all the time, but they also don't like the way they look, and they also have other issues. Like they have self-esteem issues, and they have body dysmorphia, and they have a lot of, no, not all of them, some of them are very happy with what they are and who they are. But if you want to stand out, you know, you have to sacrifice certain things. I heard a quote, I actually really liked it, and it was basically, I'm going to butcher it, but the quote basically was, you have to give up what most people have in order to experience what most people can never experience. And it basically means that in order to get the Lamborghini that nobody else can ever drive, because they'll never get the opportunity, or to get the physique that nobody will ever have, most people get to eat burgers all the time, and most people get to be lazy all the time, and most people get to watch TV shows all the time and be kept up on all the politics and be kept up on all the Love Island drama and all this stuff. And in order to get what most people can never experience, you have to give up what most people have. So if you want to drive that Lamborghini or get that physique, you might not be able to watch that Love Island. You might not be able to eat that candy or eat that burger or go to that party or drink that alcohol. And I'm not saying it's black and white. I'm not saying you can't be a millionaire and have some fun along the way. I think that's totally possible, but I just don't think to the degree that your friends and your family get to have fun. So I hope you guys love the video. If you did, smash the like button, subscribe. And I hope you now can see that even a guy like me can get to a decent place. You guys can too. Trust me, guys. There is no tomorrow. Today is the moment. Grab it. Start now, you know? And I don't mean now if you're in bed, but start today, right? Like, get after it. Make these plans, set these goals, and then just do it, because you'll regret it if you don't. To be honest, nobody's going to feel sad for you because they have their own problems to think about. So care about yourself, you know, make these changes for you. See you guys next time.